been painting a bunch of circles lately in a slightly compulsive way. I saw a post, a picture on the Journaling by Fives Facebook group that Kathy Shaw put up there, and it was some painted circles that she had done, you know, just to use to cut out for embellishments. And she gave the link to the blog post where she got her inspiration. So I went over there and checked out the blog post, which belongs to Mary Brack, and I'll provide a link for that in the video description. And I read her blog post, looked at her pictures. I sort of, you know, actually kind of skimmed it more than read it. But, you know, I got the gist of it, and I was inspired to make my own circles. So I did. Now, mine are not exactly like hers, but they are where I got my inspiration. And then I also went and watched a video from Cat Hand, and I'll also put a link to that in the description. And she made some of these same circles that Kathy did using Mary Brack's tutorial on her blog post. So all of that together just gave me circles on the brain. So here is what I've been doing. Some of these are done, these real muted looking ones. They're actually kind of muddy, and this is the kind of mud that I love. You know, it's not ugly mud, it's pretty mud. But these were done with water-soluble oil pastels, and the rest of them, these bright ones, those were done with just acrylic craft paint. You know, our $10 paint from Home Depot. Did y'all get that? Yeah, everybody got it? Okay, I did. That's what I've been using. The oil pastels are the Crayola Portfolio brand. Very inexpensive. You can get them at the art supply stores, craft stores, Amazon, whatever. Mine met with a little misfortune in that I at some point accidentally left them in my car, and they just kind of all melted together in this big blob. And I've been able to break the blob apart into chunks and get some actually kind of cool effects with it. And I have a whole box of these, you know, that are not fused together like this, but I couldn't just throw these away. I mean, this is still good color, right? So I'm using them. Now, can you use other pastels or crayons for this technique? I don't know. This is what I have. This is what I've used. But I would think that any kind of water-soluble crayon, not pencil, but a crayon should work. So, anyway, okay, before I get into the how-to, I'll show you what I did. This was done with the oil pastels, and then all the circles are just acrylic paints that I, you know, use some little circle making tools on. And this white swirl in the middle, that is a white Faber-Castell big brush marker, the white one. And I did use markers on some of these, but very little marker, just to add some color here and there. It's mostly paint and oil pastels. So, there we go. For the paper, I've used scrap computer paper, dictionary pages, magazine pages. That's the printout that comes with my prescriptions from the pharmacy. All kinds of stuff. Some of the magazine pages and papers already had color on them, and I find that I like to start with those. You can use, you know, like jelly prints that didn't quite turn out, or any kind of scrap paper. You can use really good white, you know, regular paper, watercolor paper, whatever you want if you want to use fancy paper, but you don't have to. See, that's a Restoration Hardware catalog, dictionary pages, you know, that kind of thing. So, let's just look through here. This is more pastels. And, you know, I I don't really like to leave white space. It just makes me nervous, so I fill in. And on Mary Brack's blog post, you know, hers are done on, I believe she used dictionary pages if I remember right, and they're spread out, they're individual circles so that you can cut them out and use them for embellishments, things like that. Mine, I didn't want to have to cut them out. I wanted to use them as backgrounds or collage pieces or things like that, so you know, they're just a whole page full. I really like that one. And these splatters on here I didn't do separately. That actually happens when I did the black circles, because I watered down my acrylic paint. It was kind of runny, and then every time I did like that, you know, with the paint, it splattered all by itself. So I kind of made the splatters and the circles all at the same time. I felt so efficient, really. Okay. We'll flip through. I decided I really didn't like these little bitty ones. I used the end of a glue, empty glue thing. Yeah, little circles, they don't make me happy. Big circles, they make me happy. This has got some markers in addition to the pastels. And if I have two old dictionaries that are falling apart in a really fabulous way, and a lot of the times when that happens, you can pull out a whole signature, and when you pull out a whole signature at a time, you get, you know, the whole folded sheet. You don't have to tear it. So that's what these big pieces like this are. That needs a little something, doesn't it? Yeah, I think maybe it needs some bigger black circles or something. This one I was playing with a Stabilo pencil, and I decided I didn't care much for it. They look like eggs, fried eggs, or boobs, really. I just cannot draw concentric circles and not think of either fried eggs or boobs. That's just where I go. But you know, one of my favorite pieces of fine art is Kandinsky's concentric circles. You can Google that and you can see, you'll probably recognize it as soon as you see it. But I love the colors, and the circles are done in a way that they don't make me think of, the things I usually think of. So I had that in mind while I was trying to do this, and that's actually why I ended up doing more swirls than actual circles, because I didn't want that concentric look. So yeah, this just worked out better for me. This is one of my favorites, I think. I really like that. And on some of them, I used the pastels, made the circles, smudged them or blended them with a little bit of water, and then, did that print thing so that you get two. And I don't think this is the right, no, this is not the right two, but that is how I got this really light one. So yeah, some of them are like that, and I like this. This is just a messy mess, and it's fabulous. It's one of my favorites too. And this was some of the oil pastels and some watery acrylic paint. I think that's a little of both as well. And these are getting more into acrylic paint. And some of them I used really watery, like these backgrounds that look sort of watercolored. That's actually just watered down acrylic paint. And then on the swirls, I just used it full strength. I need to finish that. I forgot about it. Love that one. There's another one I need to do. I'm not real happy with the colors on this one. I don't know. They need something. I don't know what. I completely forgot to turn these over on the back and finish the back sides. Okay, these are just full-on acrylic paint, acrylic craft paint. And they are so fun. These are not difficult to do, but they do take some time. There's a lot of colors going on here. And if you watch, or if you look at Mary Brack's tutorial on her blog, or you go watch Cat Hand's video, they do it, it's a very simple way. You know, it's not difficult, and it's not nearly as time consuming as all these swirls, but it's a completely different look too. You know, it's just a different way of doing it. And I'm just not happy unless I make things as hard as they can possibly be. I take a simple concept and make it really complicated. It's just what I do. I just have a gift that way. That's a good one. I have two like this. I don't know where the other one is. Yeah, and I don't really like either one of them. I'm not happy with the colors. But you cut them up, you know, and make ATCs or postcards or tear them into collage pieces, and they're perfect. I like these little circle ones. This one's my favorite. I think it's the first one I did, and I've not really been able to duplicate it. And that's the way it goes. And this is an envelope. I actually have some stuff I need to send to a friend, and it was laying there, so in my circle frenzy, it got painted on. So, I'll show you quickly, I'm going to try to do this quickly, how to do some of these. I'm not going to do a whole, you know, finished page. I'm just going to do a demonstration. Let's start with a dictionary page. You can use whatever you want. And let's start with the pastels. And what I did on these, okay, I like to start with, you know, something on the background, because I find that if I don't fill in the background, then when I'm done, I end up going and painting in anyway. So sometimes I'll just kind of start by putting some color down, just because, you know, I have that white space phobia. It doesn't really matter what color. With that, and then just kind of blend it. Now, okay, if you've not used water-soluble oil pastels before, let me tell you about these. If you blend them into the paper really, really good, then a lot of the times you don't have to heat set them, you know, because they'll absorb into the fibers. But if you lay them on thick and don't work them into the paper fibers, then you are going to need to seal them. Otherwise, they'll just kind of smudge forever. You know what I'm saying? So, be prepared. Think of it as kind of like using lipstick. That's how I think of these. It's like if I was drawing with lipstick. You know, some of it's going to stain the page, and I can rub it in, and you know, and it'll be fine on the page. But if I make a thick line of lipstick and it just sits on top, it's going to smudge forever, right? Okay, that's what these do, because they are just naturally very soft and blendy. Okay, you can see we got some color down, and while I was doing this, did you see how muddy it got? You know, it's easy to just soak up the mud, because the color sinks into the paper, absorbs into the paper fibers first, and before the mud does. It just kind of sits on top, because, you know, you make the mud after you put the color down. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but it does in my head. So anyway, and I make a lot of mud with these, and, you know, I guess some people might think that they're nutty, but I don't think so. I just think they're very rich and muted. You know, they're not clear colors. They're just awesome, I think. If you don't like them, don't make them. But I like them. Alrighty. Alright. I take one of my little things here. You can actually use real live individual oil pastel crayons, but I just kind of have been liking to do this. Yeah. And just make some circles or spirals, whatever I'm in the mood for, roughly. Turn it, make some more. Get another one. Make some more. Add water. And then kind of blend it in. I'm going to use a lot of paper towels, wiping my brush off and blotting. Okay, once I've got general placement of my circles, you know, I can see my little blobs going on. Now I can be more intentional about them. Okay, now once I've got some colors laid on there, swirled like I want them, I've been using a lot of these water brushes. You don't have to. You can use just a regular paintbrush dipped in water, but I like these because I can just give it a squeeze and add more water and, you know, squeeze it over here to clean it off. It's just more convenient. And then I'm just going to gently swirl these. And I'm using the smaller water brush instead of this big one because I don't want to lose my too much of my swirly look. And that will just kind of wipe the swirls away. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. And I said I wasn't going to do whole pages, didn't I? Okay, I'm a liar. Now while that's drying, we'll try another one. And that was just the basic, what I did for any of these that were done with the pastels. I just made swirls, I used water to blend, and I just kept building layers of color. And when that one dries, we'll finish it off, and I'll show you how to get it to look like these. So let's do one kind of like this, the acrylic paints. I have been using, well, almost one of each of those, however many, what were there, 24 colors in that Home Depot pack. Yeah, I like to have a little bit of almost every color. I've been avoiding the brown and the orange spice and the flesh. Those are really warm colors, and they tend to make everything too muddy too quick. So I haven't been using those, but I've been using all the other ones except black and white. I use those for the circles. So what I've been doing is just taking literally a little blob of each, and I mean little, just a little drop of pretty much every color. If you don't have tons of colors, use what you got. That's okay. But if you have a lot of these inexpensive acrylic paints, you know, use 10 or 12. That's how you get this variety of color. And you don't need to worry about what goes with what, you know, what goes together, what blends, what makes mud. Don't worry about it. You know, set those orangey brown ones aside, and then the rest of them are fine.